hello, hello. Hey, time to take a deep, deep breath. I apologize for being so late. If you were planning on being here um, online, I apologize. Probably a lot of people might have came on and left. This Mars retrograde is in full swing, and let me tell you, it is really, really playing havoc. Apologize. I had a real important phone call I needed to take. So let's get going. So what we're doing here is actually doing the Mars retrograde mid-month, and we are doing the new moon. And I'm going to take just a few seconds as I shuffle to welcome everybody. And then also, too, if you're brand new, if you haven't seen my readings on my channel, then please go ahead and check out what your sign is. And if you like it, subscribe. I do a lot of my readings live, so you could hit subscribe and the bell, and that will tell you when I am on live. It doesn't mean that if you have questions too, so if you have questions about the new moon or the retrograde, that's why I'm doing this live, so you can ask your questions. I can get your energies and things like that. But also, too, it is really, really important that I keep the vibrations and the energies open, and that's why I like to do the readings live. I do them live every week because it goes from week to week. I was a little late this week because of the fires. Mars is really hitting. This Mars retrograde, man, we're in for it for the next 2 months. So let's get started. So let's just sort of recap what the beginning of the Mars retrograde was supposed to come in as it came in on the 9th. It was supposed to actually, if you don't know anything about Mars, it's a warrior planet. It's very much about conflict, passion. It loves to create anger, hostility, violence. It loves to come in and just fight, fight, fight. And so it came in on the 9th. And just a little FYI, about the 7th, we started having fires here. And then on the 9th, all the fires exploded in Oregon. And I know there's fires in California and Washington. It's been crazy. And then also, too, on the opposing coming in with Mars. Now, Mars is in Aries. Aries is also very fiery, right? So on the opposite side of that, Saturn's coming in. And then later, what is it? I can't remember. Well, I'll go into it here in a second. So Saturn comes in, and Saturn is the opposing planet, which means Saturn is more of a softer planet. Sort of telling Mars to, hey, just mellow out, cool out kind of thing. But Mars ain't having it. So it's all going to be, the very beginning is all going to be about getting a handle on communication, because in these two planets working together, there's a lot about communication and a lot about how we're going to communicate, how we're going to actually create new communication. And as we get into this reading a little bit more, we have the new moon coming in on the 17th, which even intensifies that even more. So all I'd say is tape yourself down on that seat, put some tape over your mouth, and wait until November 13th. So anyway, let's get some energies. We already know that it's going to be very, very conflicting. So let's go from the 15th, which is actually tomorrow, until the end of the month. We're going to sort of do the retrograde first, and I'll slide the new moon if it needs to. But just remember, I'm an empath intuitive, extremely intuitive, and so a lot of this reading will not only be the energies that portray from the planets, but also too what is coming through for all the signs in hopefully bring us some good news, right? So let's see what kind of energies we've got to play with for this last 2 weeks of the month. So we do have balancing act, which it is really, really going to be a balancing act. And I'll share with you a little bit why that is, because of the moon and the planet. There's going to be, and this is for everybody. If I could get everybody to sit down and listen to this, it'd be amazing. But this is going to be a huge balancing act between mind, spirit, and body. But it also is going to be huge on when to communicate, when not to communicate, when to hold your tongue, when to agree, when not to agree, and also when to pick your fights, because it's going to be a real hard month. And another energy is that we're going to have to internals, because Virgo is going to come in with the new moon, and that's all about details, all about looking at the details, and things like that. I'm going to pull my notes down, and just in case I miss anything, I want to make sure that I follow through with that. Let's see what else energy wise we've got. Oh, yeah. Oh, makes sense. So, Wizard of Awareness. Wizard of Awareness, we're going to be looking again mostly at Virgo. Virgo is in the new moon. And also with awareness of holding, when to hold our tongue, when not to hold our tongue, that kind of thing. So, that is going to be a really huge, actually joining together. These two cards are really going to work side by side together. So, let's see if there's anything else there for. Yeah, that one is. Is there anything else that you? Okay, thank you. Anything else? All right. So we have stuck in the mud, which some of us are going to be stuck in the mud, because we're sort of stuck in our ways, and you're going to have to find new ways to do things, new ways to communicate. And if you don't want to do that, then you will feel stuck in the mud. But we are reminded not to forget about these peaks of joys, things that bring us happiness, bring us joy, bring us things that are actually, we need to be reminded, because this is such a hard time. This is such a stressful time, such a coping time with all the different stresses that we have. We have to remember, again, these two cards, beginning and ending, we have to remember to balance, so that yes, it's stressful, yes, it's hard, that kind of thing. But the other thing too is that we need to balance everything out. And it's also with our health. We have to balance our health out. And during the retrograde, this is going to be really, really challenging, because in the retrograde, we have to focus in on more of the details of everything. And it's going to be really hard, because our focus is just not there. It's just not there, because these last 2 weeks, it's sort of like some of you are going to actually start saying, yeah, some of you, this came in reverse. So we have the 6 of Swords in reverse, which normally it would mean like you're wanting to you're going away, you're traveling, doing anything. No, we can't. We're still not in that phase yet. We're still not in that. There's some of you that are just going to want to get away, and you can't. Whoops. Some of you are just going to want to get away, and that's just not possible at this time. And so it's going to be creating more stress for you. And while that's happening, you've got to find things to cope with that stress, because Mars is going to be all about stress in these next couple of weeks, and how to cope with those. A lot of the times too, in this stuck in the mud, is in this next 2 weeks, we're internalizing a lot more. We just don't want to talk to anybody. We don't want to listen. For some of you, you just want to like go in and become a hermit kind of thing, and then we become sort of stuck in the mud there and internalize everything. Don't let yourself do that, because you've got to release. You have to have a coping mechanism for your stress. Holding that all inside is not really good. All right, so that's another thing. Also, too, I'm going to put I keep getting messages from both for the Mars and then the new moon, so I've got to interject them. So I apologize, because they're coming in and it's just like poof. So also, too, the other thing with the Wizard of Awareness, now remember the new moon is going to be in Virgo. So in Virgo, we need to be aware of the details of everything that we do. Details of a lot, not only of our thoughts, but also details of our health, making sure that we're doing things for our health, because a lot of the times when we're in stress, we don't even realize the things that our body is doing to try to cope with that amount of stress. So what we have to do is find things that are going to actually help relieve that, whether it's yoga or taking a walk or taking a drive or just sitting listening to some music, putting some headphones on, even if it's at work or at home or whatever way, rather than internalizing it, find a way to breathe. And people say, I can handle the stress. Well, so did I thought I could too. And in May, when I lost my job, I realized that was the best gift God could have ever given me, because I did not realize how stressed out my body was and some of the things my body was doing to cope with that stress, and it was beginning to deteriorate. So God knows when we're at our limit for our stress, or our divine knows when we're at our limit for our stress. And if you don't take yourself out of that situation or find a way, he'll find a way for you. I ended up in the hospital, and that was for 5 days. And then I realized how bad I was. And it wasn't that I do handle stress really well. I'm pretty strong. I've come through a lot of turmoils, but what I didn't know, as we get older, that stress load, our body can't handle it as much as we used to. And we actually are taxing our body. And if there's some illness or something going on with our body, we're actually making it worse. So find something to cope with that. All right. So let's see what else was going on. So whoever's trying to run away, it's not going to work. So you're just going to have to find a way to get through whatever you're going through right now. Yeah. So we have temperance. So temperance is about balance again. And we want to make sure that we're balancing spirituality as well as our earthly. Try to tend to go to more of your spiritual side for this next month or the next couple of weeks, because earth, it comes and goes. I mean, we got fires in Oregon all over the place. People have lost their homes. Never thought that they probably would, but they've lost everything. So things can come and go. Where is spirit, is your health, is everything that you're thinking, everything that you can't see, your memories and things that you've shared with other people. So it's more of a spiritual balance there. And then we've got the King of Pentacles in reverse. So something about money, something about career that is in these next 2 weeks, it's actually not going to move at all. So where you're at, you're stuck for the moment. For the moment, there's always good things. Change is always happening, so don't take that for granted. But yeah, so something in Judgment came in reverse. Usually in Judgment, something is ending, something's just not moving yet, just not moving. And there is a chance for the Seven of Swords is all about betrayal, things like that. Again, it has to do with communication, people. It really, really does. So and the swords are about words. Swords are about actually truth. And that for the next couple of weeks, it's going to be more looking at the truth. And I'm going to say King of Swords as well, because you're right next to each other. So looking, excuse me, more at the truth of something and not the fiction. And I talked about this in some of our signs this last week, going into the 14th through the 20th when the new moon hits. It's really, really now time to look at the facts of something, not by hearsay, not by what you read in the news, because it can be lying, not by what your social media group says, because a lot of that is fake. And that is going to be really detrimental to you if you focus in on that, on the Mars, while Mars is really just about this. Because as you start to create an art, say for you're talking about politics, which I will never ever do to somebody. That was an interesting thing. I just had something happen I haven't had before. Sorry. I have a new ability starting, and it's just, was that? Anyway, so if you're talking about politics or something to that effect, and you say, oh, well, on social media, it looked like this, and it was like, well, that's true because it was from the New York Times or whatever. You don't know who manipulated that. You don't know who manipulated that. So I wouldn't start arguments in that way unless you have hard evidence or hard facts. Those are the conversations you're just going to want to back away and say, you know what? Don't want to talk about that. That's not something I talk about. People ask me, who are you going to vote for? Who you said, I don't talk politics. And that's what I say. I just don't do it because it creates animosity, lowers vibrations, lower energies. I got enough on my plate. So you have to have boundaries. You have to have those kind of things. Also, too, you actually want to be making sure that you're looking at the facts and not the fictions, reality, especially in relationships. It's like, oh, well, he's cheating on me, or I think he's cheating on me. Get the facts. If you're not sure, follow him, follow her. Do your own surveillance, or, don't go by what so and so said, or so and so over here at work said, or so and so over here. Just do your own surveillance. Get the facts, cameras on your phones and stuff like that. If you question something, get the facts. Get the facts. So if you're just coming on right now, just so you know, I don't know how many people are on or if there's anybody on, but if you are and you want to ask a question about the retrograde new moon and what's going on in your life, definitely pop in or just say hello and let me know where you're coming from or where you're at, and would love to see my viewers. So there is that. So on the retrograde side, it's not going to get easy. I'm really sorry. The energies are not going to get easy. The other thing is, too, during this retrograde, we're a lot of harder on ourselves. So again, we need to get balance back. We need to do things for ourselves in love and kindness. We need to listen to what ourselves are telling us. Relax a little bit, lighten up a little bit. Don't be so hard on yourself, because usually we're our worst enemies anyway. And also, too, thank you for that. It keeps us stuck. So we can't move forward if we're expecting more from ourselves than we do from others. And we shouldn't be expecting anything at all. We should just be going the flow, living each day, because each day has its own challenges. And we're not promised tomorrow, of course. So, yeah. So in the next 2 weeks, too, okay. Boy, I can hear this one today. So we have in reverse the Nine of Cups, and the Nine of Cups usually is the wish card. So don't wish for anything. The end. I'm just joking. I don't believe in wishes anyway. I believe in blessings. So, but it is a wish card, and it is a completion card, a satisfaction card. So right now, nobody seems to be getting satisfied in a lot of things that they're doing. And that's okay. We don't have to be satisfied 24/7, 7 days a week, 54 weeks out of the year, 365 days. We don't have to be that way. And that's not the way life is. Okay, thank you very much. So what I'm being told right now is that this 2 weeks is a time for you to dig deep internally. And that's what Virgo's coming in on the 17th about. Dig in deep internally and start thinking about yourself, what you want, things that you desire, things that you want to grow. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. So things that you want to grow, things that you want to do, things that you want to, like a bucket list. What do you want to do and how are you going to go about doing it? That's Virgo. This next 2 weeks after the 17th, your main goal is to sit down, make a plan, get detailed on how and what you want to do next. What is your passion? What do you want to accomplish next? What's your goal? That's what the energy of Virgo is going to bring in this new moon. There's going to be a passion there with Mars and Saturn to be able to do that. So it's time to turn that energy from that conflictive, maybe stay in a little bit more, maybe not socialize if you feel like your intuition's like, I just don't feel right about this, or I don't really want to go there, or I feel like something's going to happen, or maybe somebody's going to get in a fight, whatever that intuition feel, then don't do it because you're probably right. So, but it's really going to be important for you to focus in on the details of whatever you want for your future. for the next month, 2 months, 3 months, or whatever. Because even after this retrograde ends, I'm going to tell you it's not over, because of the way that the planets are going. It's not over, and even until 2021. We're in 2021. I'm praying everything changes, but up until then, we've got a lot of things coming. So another thank you for that. They're also saying just be prepared. Make sure you're prepared for anything. I don't know what they mean by that. Trust me, I have no clue. But they just say be prepared. Make sure that you have your ducks in a row. If there's a natural disaster, what are you going to do? What's your plan? Again, Virgos, that's a detail kind of thing. It's not saying that there's going to be a big catastrophe, but what they're saying is be prepared, because a lot of people weren't prepared for a lot of what's going on right now with the COVID, with the pandemic, with the fires, with not being able to come home from another country, being trapped in another country. There's so much going on. Make sure you and your family, or you and yourself, are prepared on plan A, plan B, what you're going to do. This is from them. That's not me. I'm just the conduit. I don't know what's coming, but I sure know something's coming in the next 2 months, just like I predicted COVID, just like I predicted what's going on here right now. Knew that something was coming. I just didn't know what. But I know in the next 2 months something big is coming. Yeah, the election. Whoopee. That's not big to me. Sorry, it isn't. That's an earthly thing is why. And I don't need people coming at me, but it is an earthly thing. Earthly things are important, but they're not my number one priority. Number one priority is being in balance with spirit and doing things that spirit wants me to do for the better of the human population or the human race, or to better somebody. Yeah. So the Queen of Cups came in reverse. Everything's coming in reverse. This is not good, honeys. In reverse, the Queen of Cups, or the Queen of Cups comes in. So that, what that means with that one is that usually when she comes in the upright, it's very much, she's very intuitive. She's very on the mark about what she is going for. She believes in her spirituality as far as her guide, her GPS, or whatever. Well, that's not happening with some of you. Some of you have your GPS, but you're just like, forget it. And then you go do it and it's like, man, I shouldn't have did that. So the time is actually to start turning this around and listening to your intuition, because for the next 2 weeks in the retrograde, it's going to be really, really important. Especially if there is another, I don't know where you are in the world or in the United States, but if there is another like fire or earthquake, or Mother Nature decides to burp, kind of thing, who knows what. Or if, you are in another country and you're stuck, people have been stuck. I know I've got a friend that's been two friends in Africa, stuck in Africa. One's stuck in Japan. It's like, what do? You come home, and even though you may have a job, you've months you're looking at since March, and this is September. I can't imagine. I just can't imagine. So really trying, and again, Virgos, again, listening to the details, to listen to that little voice in your head. That's the spiritual part, the new moon part. And the new moon on the 17th is going to actually, I'll sort of slide into that a little bit, because it has a lot to do with intuition as well. Because when the new moon comes in, because Mars is all about communication, you will need to find a new way to communicate. If it's whatever is not working, you have to find a new way to communicate for some of you, or you're just going to keep on this cycling path. And it's just going to keep going on and on and on in your life, and nothing is going to change. And then you're going to be stuck. So you really need to some of you, listen to people around you if they're repeating something over and over, like, you know what? Are you forgetting things, or why are you forgetting things? Maybe you're overstressed. Maybe you've got too much on your plate. Maybe, those kind of things. But the other thing too is you have to find, you just seem angry all the time. Why are you angry? I'm not angry. Well, your tone of your voice is, well, that's a communication thing. Okay, so you might mindfully have to say, you know what? I'm not angry. You just raise your voice or whatever it is. You'll have to figure a new way to communicate. It's sort of like reverse psychology. If you know about psychology, that was one of my minors in college. But you actually have to learn new ways because not everybody works the same. So you learn to communicate. So when I owned my horse business, okay, I have English clients and then I have Western clients. So English clients ride English and they ride a very, very different way. And they also have very high standards and different standards as well. And Western people, they have higher standards too, but a very different way of doing things. So I couldn't speak and be the same person with my English clients that I could be with my Western clients. And my Western clients, I definitely couldn't talk like that to my English clients if I wanted to keep getting paid. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. I don't like this reading. I really don't. Okay, so one good thing though is somewhere towards the end of the month, we have a double judgment card, but now we have it in the upright position. So some of you out there are going to figure ways to communicate better, and some of those, and unfortunately, the death card came up next to the judgment card. Now that means that something definitely is going to end, a big ending. For some of you, it's going to be unexpected. I don't know what that is for you guys. It's going to just be coming. But what the good thing about both of these is while the ending is coming, something new is beginning. And if you look at these two, sorry, I'm hearing. So what you look at these two, if you look at behind the little rider on the horse there's the sunlight in the background. There's sort of like two pillars. There's a way to go through. If you look at the very top of the is spiritual, the angels are calling, they're judging, they're calling you home kind of thing, but it's a very spiritual thing. So we have a new beginning. And for some of you, you're going to embrace that new beginning, and it's going to be a new spiritual awakening. You're going to want to listen to what the unseen is, whether you believe in God, the divine, the universe, or whatever it is. You're going to embrace that and say, you know what? I've been through enough right now, so something's got to change. My attitude, my thought process is going to have to change. And whatever, it's that saying is like, how's that working for you? That kind of thing. It's sort of like, it's not. So how's that working for you? It means you need to change it. So this is what's going to happen. Some of you are going to embrace that change into a better way to grow yourself into a better life. And that's what the new moon is about. It's like all about, okay, how can we better this? How can we change this? Virgo is all about analytical and how to really get to the details of how to analyze to make something better, to make a better solution. There's a solution to everything, let me tell you. I know, because that's what I do. I'm a Virgo, yes. But the thing is, I'm also a business owner. I've been a business owner for so many years. I've owned a business in Japan. I've owned a business here in the United States. So there's a solution to everything. And that's why I have Get Balanced 2020 for people that believe that there is no way out. There is a way out, mentally, physically, spiritually. So if you have questions about that, you can email me at getbalanced2020. But here, this is about not only your health, getting to analyze, okay, how can I better make better habits, changing bad habits to good habits. And it actually even said that in here, attention to detail, wellness, finding a way to find a new constructive habit rather than a destructive habit. And that's in the new moon. That's what we want to focus in on, our wellness and how we serve others. So it's all about the end of the last 2 weeks is all about a process of inner searching, being aware of how we're communicating. I'll just keep pounding that in through the readings these next 2 weeks, because I can't get that through to actually give you a toolbox. If I could give you a toolbox for the next 2 weeks for the Mars retrograde and the new moon, I would give you a toolbox with a whole bunch of communication skills, how to diffuse an argument, how to engage in a good, intelligent conversation, how to have uplifting conversations, and how to steer away from conversations, and knowing the red flags that are going to get you into a conversation that is heated. Those are tools in that toolbox I would give you. As far as the new moon, I would give you a piece of paper, and I would put what are your desires on it, and what do you want? Put the pros and cons of each thing that you want for the rest of the year, and the pros and cons. And you pick the first one, and maybe you've got 3 pages of what you want to do, but you want to be able to say, okay, I want to start my own business. Okay, by 2000, maybe spring of 2021, I'm going to start my business. Write the pros and cons of owning a business, and what the steps are of owning a business. That's the Virgo side of the new moon. That's what you'll have to be doing. Something is going to be ending. New beginnings are going to be starting. For some of you, you're going to be stuck. And you're not going to see the joy of everything that's going through. I'm going to say, thank you very much. So they're saying, don't forget the playful side. Don't forget that you need to have some fun through this. It's really, really hard. Even if you have no money, it's easy to find something around the house that you can do with your family, or if you're living alone, finding some things, finding some groups outside, or something that you can join to volunteer. I know that's boring for some of you, but just something, whatever your passion is. You guys have the internet now and all this stuff, and my daughter's telling me she can join a group to play games online, or there's groups that if you want to, like, we speak Japanese, or I speak Japanese, she's learning. So I mean, the thing is that you can find groups that are interested in Japanese culture, or you've got so many things to do for free. So those are the things that you're going to have to find for the rest of the week. Okay, and another thing too with these. So then the new moon on about the 17th to the 23rd. That's actually a time we're going to be making sure you plant positive things in your mind. Plant positive things as you speak, because Venus is going to move into Cancer. Cancer is sort of a quiet thing. So, I mean, Cancer is going to be like, this is going to be around the 23rd, I would say, to the 1st. So as Cancer moves in, Cancer is sort of one of those, like, I'll give you a hypothetical. So, you just, maybe your love language is you like to hear that they love you, or something to that effect. Cancer and Saturn coming together, or Cancer and Venus coming together. Of course, Venus is all about passion, but Cancer's like, nah, So the hypothetical is, okay, so your partner, it gives you a hug or whatever, and shows you some affection. Okay, that's another love language. But you're like, do you love me? And they're like, you shouldn't have to ask that. Well, it's one of those energies where it's like, I don't know if he loves me or not, or she loves me or not. It's one of those where you have to say it to be able to come out in that sense, where it's not going to be relevant, or it's not relevant. It's not going to be apparent. Excuse me. So if you need somebody to tell you love them, you need to say, hey, my love language is affirmations. I need to hear it. I don't need you to affection kind of thing. I need to hear it. So you're going to have to ask directly. So your communications, again, in details directly. All right. Because they're not going to know. Yeah, if we're talking about passion, we've got the Knight of Wands, a little passionate knight there coming in with his horse. And he's actually, again, communication. Um, yeah. I'm being told that this is the passion of Mars. So the passion of Mars, which comes really interesting because it comes right after death. So something is going to come up right after that. Thank you. Somebody out there is fighting. They're fighting for something not to end. So they're fighting really hard for something not to end, and it really does need to end in order to grow to a new thing for some people, because the new passion, the new fire, the new energy that is coming in has to have room. So if you don't allow that to end, there's no room for that newness to come in. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Appreciate that. Because we sometimes want to hold on to things that are, stop. Sometimes we want to hold on to things that are actually pretty much dead and gone anyway. And something that we should really actually be letting go. All right. So with that energy. And then on the new moon too, towards the end of the month, which would be the last week of the month, we would want to start focusing on things that are more valuable to us, more the moon, because of the Virgo and the moon, things that have more priority to us, things that have more value, things that we really hold on dear to our heart. Those are things that we need to bring way up to the surface and realize and focus in on those at the end of the month, coming into October. All right. So, yeah, because Venus moves into Pluto. Yeah, moves into Pluto, and then, or most actually moves through Pluto because it goes through, and then that's the Cancer. I have to look at my notes because there's so many things that have happened through this month. Then on the 29th, we have a conjunction of 3 or more planets, actually. We have a stellium during that. And Virgo's energy, again, is to focus at the end of the month. We have Mars retrograde with Mars squared in Saturn. So, yeah. Just seeing. So the sun moves into Libra, and that's going to bring balance a little bit more around the 23rd. So that's actually where this balancing act is probably coming as well towards the end of the month. And again, balance meaning your spiritual, your spiritual, your earthly, your body, mind, body, and spirit. All right. All right. See if there's anything else. Yeah. Again, 2 of Cups. There's going to be a lot of interaction with people. There's going to be a lot of communication, a lot of talking, a lot of chatting. That necessarily doesn't have to be a love connection there. It could be, boss, friends, could be, teacher, student. It could be that, but there could be a spark there too. That's not even actually. It wouldn't be. Personally, I don't know if I want to start a relationship in the retrograde. Because you'll be looking at all the conflicting things rather than all the positive, beautiful things that you can bring into a relationship. Oh gosh, yeah. All right. Is there anything else, Divine, or anybody who's coming through that you want to share with everybody, please? Is there anything I am missing or anything I need to focus in on more, please? All right. So I would say for everybody, some of these may resonate with you. They'll resonate with other things. Again, looks like we're taking the judgments for some of you as turning that around and is welcoming change, welcoming to grow, and welcoming to balance out life a little bit better. So there's that plus. there's also too that we've got an ending of something which is going to grow and bud into something because we have the Knight of Wands actually moving towards that. Somebody's really fighting this change. But this is going to be a good change. This is going to be a really good thing for somebody. Now, if you're in a relationship and it is ending, you know what? Go through your little grieving and go through all that because you need to let that go before you can actually start anew and bring in new energy. This one is the one that concerns me, though, because not listening to your intuition is really detrimental because that's your GPS, your guide. That's the spirit telling you which way he or she or whoever you want to call it wants you to go and guide you to a better you, a better life, your calling, your purpose. And when you're not listening to that, then it's sort of like you're living by Earth's rules, and that doesn't necessarily work. Even if you're an atheist, you really fight to prove that there is no God, so there must be a God. That's my stake on it. So, yeah. So, let me see if there is anything else I have missed. All right. Now, if I was doing a normal reading and if you wanted to and you were on and this is the time you wanted to ask a question or say hello, this is where you would do that. And I would be happy for that. Or if you wanted to subscribe, this is a good time to do that too, to catch your signs. And also too, I do empath videos. I do spiritual growth videos. I do things on abilities, how tools and things on abilities. And then so that you'll find out that those are live. A lot of them are live so that you can ask questions, but that you'll get uploaded and you'll be notified if you hit the bell. So, yeah. So I don't see anything else. This is just going to be a real challenging finish of a retrograde. And actually through November 13th is when it ends. We're just going through the end of September. So this is going to be a really interesting holiday season for many. The best thing I can tell you as an empath and the abilities that I have, I already know what's coming. And the best thing that I can tell you is please be mindful when you speak to somebody if your energies are getting lifted in like frustration, anger, and anxiety to breathe, calm yourself down, find a way to diffuse whatever it is that you're about to engage in because it's going to end in animosity or anger or hostile or sometimes violence. So find a new way to communicate or step away for the rest of the month. That would be mine, and through the retrograde. The new moon's bringing in a lot of good energies, but it's again focus on the details. Being a Virgo energy, it's focusing in and analyzing the details. So I hope this helped, and I hope you enjoyed that. Just try to, through this process, thank you. They just want me to remind you a last time is to enjoy and and have joy. And the only way that you can raise your vibrations and do that and have joy is think of fun things, funny things, things that bring good memories, bring that warm and fuzzy or whatever it is, just to even pick the phone up and call somebody and have a fun conversation or something. That's what joy is. It's internal. Happiness is external. Joy is internal. So remember to do things that fill your heart with joy for the stress and find something how to cope with your stress because this is about a coping month of stress. So I hope, is there anything else you want me to share? Don't forget the joy. That's all I heard. Don't forget the joy. So I hope you guys had a good time and that you subscribe, share, like, bring your friends, and help us grow our channel. Help us grow. Me, myself, I, the three, the Trinity. All right. I'm not God. I'm not God, but the Trinity. All right. We'll talk to you soon. I hope you enjoyed.